All right, welcome everyone to the kickoff of ETHSanFrancisco. To start out tonight's festivities and to kick off the event, we have a special performance starting right now on the main stage. Swan VR.
Something to hold. I see white falling on both sides, only to go through fire every day. Four seasons of change. No, the same.
Lately I've been losing these nights when heartbreak and I'm done with this. Shattered.
Everyone, one more round of applause for Swan VR. Thank you.
Are you all excited? Yeah? Maybe one more time. Are you all excited? There we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to ETHSanFrancisco. My name is Kartik, one of the co-founders of ETH Global, and I am super excited to welcome all of you to the city of San Francisco. Now, let's start with something really important. This is not a conference. These events are organized by ETH Global. And ETH Global is an organization with a very simple mission. Our goal is to onboard thousands of developers into the Web3 ecosystem. And we do this by running hackathons and summits. And this makes this event a hackathon. What differentiates all of this is that our focus is on builders. We believe showing is more important than telling, and this is a place for all of you to learn, explore, get help, and grow as developers and learn the skills that you're all excited to gain. And that brings us to all the things that we're going to talk about today. The most important piece is that this is the biggest ETH Global event we've done in person in our 5-year history. We have over 1,700 people in the building from 46 different countries, and 38% of them are brand new to Web3. This is absolutely incredible. We put all of them on a map to see where everybody was coming in from, and I am so excited to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces, and I can't wait to meet all of you. Not only that, we have 27 workshops. A lot of them have happened already as you kind of came in the afternoon. 265 ecosystem partners and 18 mentors who are here 24/7 to help you with anything technical that you need. And to top it all off, $300,000 in prizes are being given away, and we're going to talk about all those things on what the details are for each of these prizes shortly in the next hour. I also want to give a special shout out to our 39 incredible partners, so I want to give them a big round of applause. Please join me in thanking IPFS and Filecoin, OpenSea, Optimism, Polygon, SKALE, Worldcoin, Cartesi, ENS, Lens, Uniswap Foundation, UMA, XMTP, The Graph, Hyperlane, EY, Mina, Push Protocol, LivePeer, Aluo, 0x, ApeCoin, Near, Samudai, Fuel, Tenderly, Teller, Dune, Unlock, QuickNote, Gnosis Chain, Empiric Network, Avmos, Findora, Midpoint, Triangle, Covalent, Samsung Next, Antpool, and Swing. All of these incredible companies are here this weekend, and they're going to be talking about why they're excited to be part of this event and all the prizes you can win by using their SDKs and protocols. All right, so I want to make sure I make the best use of the next 60 minutes. I want to talk about what this weekend is all about. I want to cover what the venue and all the activities that we're doing, how you can get help. We're going to talk about all the prizes and the workshops, how judging and project submission is going to work, and if you're still looking for a team, how all of that is set up. So let's go into all of that, but before, let's talk about a little bit of security. Everyone must have their wristband, which you would have gotten with your event badge on you at all times. The wristband is required to be in the building, and if you end up cutting it or losing it or somehow misplacing it, we will not be issuing a second one. So please make sure that you do not get rid of or cut your wristbands. These are the things that are going to be preventing you from going back into the building, and the security is going to make sure that we don't let anybody in without a wristband. So just to sum it up, no wristband, no entry. Do not lose your wristband if you've been already put one on your wrists. On top of that, please do not leave your belongings unattended. The doors are going to be open. This is a 24/7 event. People can come in at any time, whether it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. in the next 2 days. And we want to make sure that you don't leave your stuff unattended. So please keep an eye out on your stuff at all times. There is no official storage that we are offering for this weekend. And of course, you've already been here for quite some time, so just want to make sure I also take a second to remind everybody on the floor plan. This is the main floor where most of the things are happening. We are on the main stage on my left. The middle spot is all of the hacking area. The workshop rooms are in the middle at the end and at the end of this hall. And if you need any help, there's going to be a 24/7 help desk right where registration was, so you can find anybody on the ETH Global team at any given time. A quick note here is that the doors that you came in from today are going to be closing at 10 p.m. So when you're trying to exit tonight after 10 p.m., you're going to have to go to the end of the hallway and request your ride or your Uber at the end and not the doors you came in from. And then there's also a mezzanine floor that's on the area on top, and that's all of hacking space and a chill room where you can just kind of hang out and get some snacks and just chill. And of course, you've already kind of had dinner, but make sure that you do not lose your meal tickets. There's 6 of them for 6 meals. They are what the food trucks are going to request. If you lose them, we're also not going to be giving you a new one, and you will need them to get the food for the rest of the weekend. So enjoy some variety of food options that you have here, and give them a meal ticket when you want to eat something from any of the trucks. And we have a lot of other fun things going on this weekend. So there's an NFT exhibition by Nounstyle that's all the way at the end of this hall. There's a relaxation station powered by Cartesi. You can get some massage chairs and hammocks in there. There's also a photo booth. You want to get some photos about being at ETHSanFrancisco. You get them digitally delivered to your email. And we're going to do an activity which is dyeing a scarf. That's a very local thing from San Francisco. So if you're interested in this, this is happening here tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 5 p.m. in one of the workshop rooms. All right, let's go right into a lot of the logistics of this weekend. Communication. Everything that we're going to be doing here is going to happen on Discord. If you RSVP'd as a hacker, you would have seen a prompt to connect your Discord to get all the right permissions. The Discord is only open and accessible to people who are participating at the hackathon, so these are all private channels, and if you do not see ETHSanFrancisco on your sidebar, that means you didn't connect it properly or something went wrong, so you can find us and we'll help you debug that. Discord is also the place where we have all the channels for getting support, so you can ping any protocol that's offering a prize. You can ping any of our mentors there. You can also physically go to the mentor help station and get any help. And of course, remember that you are in person. Everybody that you're going to be talking to is also here in person. You can just walk up to them and chat and get help. Also, all the official announcements will be posted on Discord, so if you miss anything, if we're running behind or if we're running ahead of schedule or something changed, we'll be announcing all of that on Discord as well as updating the website. And whatever the website says is going to be the source of truth. So if something is different on the website than what's being communicated, it's the website that remains what we're going to follow. And just to remind everybody, the website is sf.ethglobal.com. All right, so the most common questions we get is, how does this hackathon work and what do I need to do to prep for tonight? We'll keep this very simple. You can officially start hacking on your projects, and you can work on a project with up to 5 members on your team. You all have 36 hours to hack, so submissions are due at 9 a.m. on the Sunday, and we're going to talk about what all of that means in terms of submissions. But before we talk about the submission, there are a few simple rules that we want to follow for all the projects that are going to be submitted. Everything that you're going to do must be done from scratch, which means you cannot continue to work on a project that you already started before. Everything that you're doing must begin today, starting right now, and you cannot extend a project, otherwise you will be disqualified. You are allowed to use open source projects, of course, if something is already open source and you're either forking that repo or you're building on top, or if you actually use the code from any other existing projects, that is still totally fine, but not something that you've done yourself before and you're adding a feature to it. And only people who have been confirmed on the hacker dashboard are eligible to win prizes, which means if your team members are not listed on your team section, or they do not show up, or they do not physically attend this event in person, have not checked in, they will automatically be kicked out tomorrow afternoon by a script. And if you win a prize, we will not be honoring anybody who was not listed at the time of submission as a team member. So really, really, really make sure that all of your team members individually show up as you're submitting your project. And of course, if you have any questions, you can find me. You can find anybody on the global team. We're going to be there 24/7 on a help desk, there to answer any questions. And a lot of the workshops that are happening are designed for people from all different skill sets, whether you're a beginner, you're an intermediate or expert in this space. And all that information is also available on your dashboard and all of our website, and everything, including this speech right now and me being on stage, is being live streamed, so you can catch up all of that instantly on ethglobal.tv or going to youtube.com/ethglobal. Watch everything at your own pace. You get to pause stuff and you get to look at code. And everybody who gave a talk today is here in person, so you can just walk up to those speakers and ask them any follow-up questions that you had. And for those of you who are still looking to join a team, we are going to be running a team formation workshop right after I stop talking in an hour. And that's going to be in workshop room 4, which is all the way at the end of the hallway. So that's going to happen at 9:30 for about an hour, hour and a half. And that means if you are still looking for teammates, if you are looking to join a team or you want somebody to join your team with a different specific skill set, you can be in that room and find each other and potentially work together on a project. And of course, if you have not already checked this out, there's also a tool on your Hacker dashboards to find other team members who are also looking for a team. This requires both sides to be opt-in, and you can search people for different skill sets, what they're looking for and what you're looking for, and find them and message them directly on Discord and connect them asynchronously. All right, submissions are due at 9 a.m. on Sunday. And let's talk about that. But before I go into this, just a quick note. Daylight saving time kicks in this Sunday. So while you can start hacking at 8 p.m. and submissions are due at 9 a.m., you still have 36 and not 37 hours to hack. So keep that in mind. Your clock should automatically change, but things will be slightly different by an hour on Sunday. All right, let's talk about judging. Main judging and partner judging. So there's going to be two tracks for what judging means. You can opt in for either of these processes. And what that means is if you're going to be working on a project and you want to win a prize from one of our partners, you have to select those prizes on your submission project page view, and the partners will be notified that you are applying for that prize. In that time, you have to go to their tables and their booths and present what you did to them individually, which means if you are trying to win prizes from 5 different sponsors, you're going to have to go to all 5 of those teams and present your projects to them. In that same window, there's also the main judging, which is going to help us determine the top 10 teams, which is entirely separate from the partner judging. And this is going to be happening at the end of the hallway on the other side of this room, and we'll be assigning an order for each of the teams to go present to our main judges, whom you can find on our website, and they'll be deciding who the overall projects are that are interesting for the rest of the hackathon. If you want to be part of the main judging and top 10 projects and also win prizes, you're going to have to present to both sides. So make sure that you are optimizing for your time and making sure that you have enough time on Sunday morning to look at all these things and go to everybody that you want to present to. How does judging exactly work? You will have 4 minutes to demo your projects and 7 minutes in total to present everything that you did, which includes 3 additional minutes for questions. We usually recommend that you record a 4-minute video of what you did in case something goes wrong, or if you are relying on some transaction happening on mainnet and that may take more time, or something goes wrong. It just helps you recover and not be in a situation where at the final moment you are not able to demo what you built. And we really recommend that you do not do this last minute. You need at least 30 minutes to submit everything because you will be asked to show proof of how you're using different protocols if you're applying for prizes, and you're going to have to actually spend time writing different things about what you did and how it works. So really don't prepare for this last minute. And all that happens on your Hacker dashboards. You'll start seeing a form tomorrow afternoon immediately on how all of it is set up. And kind of similar to what I talked about already, the partner judging is part of the same process. So as you're submitting, you get to choose these are all the prizes that you're applying for. And once you do that, the partners will be notified that you are expected at their booth, which means that if you do not select a prize, they have no way of knowing that you wanted to win or participate or qualify for those prizes. And there's no way for us to control that, so you're going to have to make sure that you selected the right prize. And you can do this thing in parallel, which means that if you want to present to all of the partners before and then go to the main judging, you can, or you can do it right after you present it to the main judges and then find the partners. You get to decide what you want to optimize for. And of course, I want to talk about our code of conduct. The rules and the code of conduct for being at this event are outlined on ethglobal.com/rules, but in summary, it's fairly straightforward. Everything that you build here is your own intellectual property. Nobody, neither ETH Global or your team members or any of our partners own anything that comes out of it. Whoever is part of that project is the owner of that work. And please be respectful for everybody, to everybody in this building. Harassment in any form is not going to be tolerated. So if you feel like you're being treated in a way that shouldn't be the case, please come find us and we'll take immediate action. And whether you're not comfortable finding us in person, you're more than welcome to ping us on Discord or email. Or if you don't want to do that and just actually talk to us in person, please come find anybody wearing an ETH Global shirt. And with that, we are done with most of the logistics. What I want to do next is bring on some of our amazing partners. And there are some of our amazing partners who are excited to be here this weekend. They're giving some amazing prizes. They're going to talk about why they're here and what they're doing. And I want to kick us off by showing a video from Papillon to talk about what IPFS and Filecoin is up to. So while we ready our rest of our partners, please watch this intro from IPFS and Filecoin.
Hey everyone, my name is Papillon and I work at IPFS and Filecoin. We're so excited to be a sponsor at ETHSanFrancisco. IPFS and Filecoin, that's why we're here. IPFS is a peer-to-peer content address protocol that makes the web upgradable, resilient, and more open. And Filecoin is the largest decentralized storage network that ensures content persistence over time. Filecoin's total capacity makes up about 1% of total cloud storage, and we're growing fast. Increasing storage capacity and developing multiple exciting solutions like our recently launched Filecoin virtual machine. Fully EVM compatible, smart contracts will enable co-locating storage and computation. Now there's $20,000 in the offering. Make sure to check the website for submission qualifications. You can also find these great learning resources like NFT.storage and Web3.storage to get you started. If you need to reach out, you can find us on the Discord channel or at our sponsor booth. Hackathons are a great place to experiment, to get your hands dirty, and to build projects. The possibilities are endless. We wish you the best of luck. Happy hacking.
Awesome. Please give Papillon a big round of applause. And next up, I want to bring on Benji from Optimism to talk about everything Optimism is up to. Please welcome Benji on stage.
Yo. Hey, everybody. Before I start, I just want to say, this is my first time speaking at ETH Global, so I hired a public speaking expert to help me with the slides. Unfortunately, I couldn't pay them on time, so they just left their notes over here. If I was you, I'd just ignore anything written in yellow. Just just don't look at it. Okay, so how to win an Optimism prize. We have a bunch of cool prizes, guys. It's going to be really exciting. So again, just don't read the yellow. A show of hands. So could you raise your hand if you're hacking today? Let's go. Nice. Can you raise your hand if you don't have an idea yet? OK, I see a few hands in there. OK, cool. Our area is right around there, so hit me up and we'll talk a little bit about various things you can do. A bunch of ideas for you to try out as well. So, one, NFTs or digital collectibles. We have prize for 2 teams, $2,500 each. You can make an NFT collection. You can make something that makes someone else make an NFT collection. You can make something that lets someone else making something that makes an NFT collection. Bunch of stuff. Or maybe build some games. We released the OP stack recently. So, Lattice made OP Craft, and that was exciting, so you guys can do the same. Crypto is all about human coordination. So, Ethereum lets you program money. Money lets you program incentives. Incentives let you program societies and novel structures. Damn. All right, we already have the collective on Optimism, thousands of active governance participants, and we need some tech. We need something to help that be organized. So if you guys are interested in GovTech, anything you can create for DAOs, we have prizes for those. 3 teams, $2,500 each for the winners. And I missed this slide. We do a little dev tooling as well. So anyone who wants to do anything that can help a developer build anything at all, we have 3 team prizes for $2,500 each for the winners. This could be Discord infra in general, or automation. We do a little dev tooling. And lastly, if you guys are interested in even more content, please scan this. I'm going to leave it on for a couple seconds. And there's a bunch of other prizes as well, so you can look into it. Thank you.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And next up, I want to bring on Ryan from OpenSea to talk about everything OpenSea. Please welcome Ryan on stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan. I work on the protocol team at OpenSea on the engineering team. I'll be here this weekend. I'll be wearing a bright OpenSea shirt. I'll be sitting and hacking away. If anyone wants to build on Seaport, which is our new marketplace protocol that we launched this summer, it's an ownerless base protocol that has no inherent fees to any party. So anyone can build orders and hack on it and combine orders from different marketplaces and be able to execute them in a very gas-efficient manner. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. You can build contracts that can validate orders on chain that people can fulfill. You can create multi-sigs that hold NFTs that list them on the OpenSea website and cool things like that. So it's great to be here. If anyone needs OpenSea keys, find me and I can help create API keys for you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I want to bring on Steph from Polygon. Please welcome Steph.
Hey, I'm Steph. I'm from Polygon. GM ETHSF. Jacob taught me that San Francisco has 8 bridges, and the one over there is the Golden Gate Bridge. I got that wrong today, and I'm not going to get that wrong the rest of the week. But I'm from Polygon. I love working for Polygon because Polygon believes in Web3 for all. So that's you, your mom, your grandma, kids in kindergarten, their teacher, literally every single person in the world. And we love that our builders feel that way too. So I challenge you this week to build things for anyone and everyone. Get in builders, we're hacking all weekend. We have 3 different solutions you can build on for the hackathon. The first one is Polygon POS, which is our proof of stake sidechain. I love building on POS because the transactions are super fast and the gas is low. It's very scalable and it's also EVM compatible. We also have our ZK EVM testnet that went live a few weeks ago publicly. So you can build on ZK EVM. If you scan this QR code, you'll get the RPC URL and have all of the information you need to build. And then we also have Polygon ID, which is our decentralized ID solution. My coworker Rahat did a really great workshop at 6 p.m. today. So check that out on the ETH Global YouTube channel. And you'll have everything you need to build with Polygon ID. We also have $20,000 this weekend in prizes. Our prizes are for best use of Polygon ID, best public goods or refi, metaverse or gaming project, best UX, and then my personal favorite, best developer tool or DAO tooling project. So tons of different options for building and really excited to see what you all build. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, I want to bring on Jack from SKALE. Please welcome Jack.
Hello. All right. Pleasure to be here. Who's hacking? All right. Awesome. OK. First off, we have 20,000 in Hacker Awards. All right. You can see the awards up here. First and foremost, I just want to talk about the pool award. So anybody who deploys, any team who successfully deploys to SKALE, will share in the pool award. So our team will be here all weekend, here to support you, and let's have some fun. So really quickly, what is SKALE? SKALE is a modular, multi-chain blockchain network designed to help scale Ethereum. All right? It's Ethereum native, meaning it's built into Ethereum. One of the coolest pieces about SKALE is it's actually a zero gas fee network in a sustainable, decentralized manner. I'll get into that in a second. So we've been around for a long time. We actually sponsored this event in 2018. It was awesome. It was a blast. We're all going to have a good time. Now, we've been around for a while, but just this last June, the network went through a major upgrade. And today, we just had the 15 millionth transaction since June. Over 77 active users, a lot of action on the chain, and just excited to see what's happening in SKALE. So getting a little deeper with SKALE, SKALE is actually a network of app-specific blockchains. It's not a single chain. Whereas most blockchains are one shared database, SKALE has a system of pooled security blockchains. So these are, in many ways, shards or pooled chains that share a collective validator set, but then have their own individual blockchain that all, and they work as an active group for collusion resistance and redundancy. Okay? And they're all emboldened by the Ethereum mainnet and really controlled by the Ethereum mainnet, work in synergy with the Ethereum mainnet, and help bring fees and revenue back to the Ethereum mainnet. Now, hey, I've got a lot of pictures here about the containerization of the network, the technical architecture. I have 2 minutes, so I'm not going to go through this. But if you're interested in learning more, you want to learn about how the network functions, if you're into containerization, if you're into threshold encryption, come by the booth and talk to us. We'd love to talk to you about how SKALE functions and works and operates. Also, would love to talk about how there's a hub and dApp chain model. We already have 18 chains in the EVM chains in the SKALE network. Each one can do over 100 transactions per second in terms of throughput. That can get pretty messy in terms of coordination without hubs. So there's a hub model. Would love to talk to you about that too. Okay, last thing, we have an announcement. Our comms team wouldn't let me, announce this yet, so I'm giving a little sneak peek. But keep your eyes open next week. It starts with a Z, and there's going to be some cool stuff coming out on SKALE soon. All right, come check us out on the Discord if you have questions. SKALE.chat. All right, let's have some fun. Thanks.
Thank you. And our last partner on stage, please welcome Tiago from Worldcoin.
Hello, what's up? All right, I do have a few slides that the team sent me. Probably too long, so we're going to skip through a bunch of them. But yeah, so I'm Tiago at Worldcoin, and we're building a bunch of stuff at Worldcoin. We're building a token that anyone in the world can claim, except if they're in the US, for free, just for being a person. We're also building a wallet for normal people. It's super easy to use. And then lastly, and most importantly, we're building what we call a proof of personhood protocol. And that's what we're here to talk about today. And so there's this really pesky problem that we all have to deal with, which is bots or people abusing systems, right? This is called civil attacks. And the idea is that when you're online, you don't know if 20 accounts are 20 people with individual accounts or one person with 20 accounts. And so we built a protocol that helped us solve it for a problem that we had. And now we're opening up so that any of you can build applications that leverage the same civil resistance. And so in essence, with our protocol, what you can do is people can anonymously prove to you that they're a real person that have never done something before, right? And so, for example, if you're building an app that lets people claim NFTs, people can prove that they're a real person that has never claimed this NFT before without revealing who they are. Or they can prove that they've never joined this Discord, or that they've never redeemed an airdrop, right? Whatever it is, it's all anonymous, and people can prove that they've never done it before. Yeah, so this is with World ID. Very exciting. This is our protocol. But what I want to get to is how we do this. We do this with this device. It's called the orb, this little beauty. And the orb basically does three things. It makes sure you're a real person with a bunch of sensors. Then it looks at your iris. It generates a unique code. It destroys the other images that it has taken of you. And using zero-knowledge proofs, it can verify that you've never been to an orb before. And so this is exactly the type of zero-knowledge proofs that you can integrate into your project to reuse the signal that the orb gives you. Now, it's super easy to implement. All you need to do is embed a widget like this on your website, which looks like a CAPTCHA. But instead of having to select images, people just click on this, they scan a QR code that generates a zero-knowledge proof, and then we do everything magically for you. We have integrations that can be done either on-chain or through a web API, so you can really build anything on any chain. And if you want to do it on-chain, it's on Polygon. There's a bunch of things you can build with this. I will not get into the specific use cases. But if you're curious about resources, this link is actually wrong. I'll show you the right link at the end. But there's a whole bunch of things. We have documentation, a developer portal, the widget, the underlying protocol, and a bunch of examples, most importantly, to help you build this. This is what that looks like. We have a bunch of prizes, a lot of really cool categories. People have built really interesting things in the past, so go have fun. And then this is the right link. If you want to build on Worldcoin this weekend, go to worldcoin.org/ETHSanFrancisco, and anything that you need to know, the rules, the documentation, fun facts about the orb, interesting things, you can check it out there. All right? Have fun hacking.
Thank you. All right, well, there's two things left before we go back to hacking. I do want to get to the prizes, but before that, I want to bring on somebody special, and we have a really interesting interview prepared for our next speaker. want to bring on Dylan Field, who is the CEO of Figma. Figma, if you don't already know, is a design tool that has taken Silicon Valley by the storm. It has fundamentally changed how we think about collaboration and just doing design at scale. And we're going to talk about how do we make good products, how do we think about building more consumer-friendly applications, and all things Web3. So please join me in welcoming Dylan Field from Figma on stage.
This one? Yes.
Hey, Dylan.
Hi, Kartik.
How's it going?
It's good. I've been trying to get Carty T to catch on. It's not working yet. Special K. KT.
Well, let's stick with KT. That works.
KT. Hey, KT.
I'll go with KT. That's my Starbucks name. Well, there's a lot of things we want to talk about. And I want to figure out how do we, not figure, I want to actually blend in a lot of things about good products and Web3. But for a lot of the people that are not familiar in the audience, I'd love to kind of learn about how you got into Web3, what got you excited, and just kind of what background you have in this space and everything from that beginning.
Yeah, I mean, slow journey, unfortunately. I started getting emails about crypto, gosh, I mean, even 2009, I was on a mailing list, 2008, 2009, about hash functions. I think Zuko wrote on the mailing list about this Bitcoin thing.
It was a while ago.
And then I had this like lecture online about MD5, and someone reached out and said, hey, there's this Bitcoin paper, can you please read it and tell me what you think? And I was just like, these crazy people with their crazy internet money. And then I was in the Teal Fellowship, and Vitalik famously was part of that. He emailed the listserv and said, hey, can anyone please read my white paper? No one replied. I lived with Juan from Filecoin Protocol Labs. He was my roommate. He wrote the IPFS white paper on our table. I still managed to ignore crypto. But eventually, I started dating my now wife. Her name is Elena Nadolinsky, founder of Ironfish. And she was starting to get really excited about Ethereum. And that made me dive deep in the sort of 2017 timeframe. And I started getting really excited and started to learn the vocabulary more. And I was like, wow, there's a whole world here. And this is extremely exciting. There's so much going on.
Absolutely. And Elena was at the very first ETH Global event 5 years ago, and that's how I know her, and it's been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, she said we were actually with Juan and a bunch of Protocol Labs people, and they're all talking about Ethereum. They're like, oh my God, it might cross $100. And she's like, why were they all so excited? And we went home that night. On the ride home, she starts just like frantically Googling everything Ethereum. And I said, well, there's this like thing, in
Waterloo,
in Canada, and like I think there's some people that are going to be there. And so she went to ETH Waterloo, and at ETH Waterloo, that was when CryptoKitties came out at that first event, and it ended up being a historic event in lots of ways.
Absolutely, and that's how I know you too. Well, so that was a lot on the theory on how you kind of got more and more into this space. What have you kind of done directly? I know you're involved in a lot of NFT projects, just as a collector and also kind of an advisor. We'd love to kind of hear your background. What kind of gets you excited there?
Yeah, I mean, so I was actually pretty thrilled because 3 of the 6 sponsors, I'm like, whoa, I was an investor in those. And I started to get really excited about sort of 2017 timeframe. By the way, I don't know how many of you have entered the ecosystem sort of in the last year versus the last 3, 5, 10 years. It only takes one cycle to be an OG in crypto, which is pretty cool. And so, I started to invest in more projects. I actually saw the project that probably got me any street cred in the space was CryptoPunks. And I saw that in 2017 on Reddit, of all places. It was like I had no special knowledge. And I was just like, this is cool. This seems like legit art pieces, potentially, for Ethereum. I got excited about this idea of a crypto collectible. We didn't have the term NFTs yet, and started to dive into it. Spent all of my winter break that year, between 2017 2018, just like basically learning about every crypto collectible project there was. Ended up buying this Punk 7804.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Sure. I bought it for $14,000 in January 2018. I
Which
remember
at that time was absurd.
completely absurd. I mean, it was like 12 ETH. ETH was almost as high as it was today, so peak of the bubble at that time period. And I remember turning to Elena, you know, we were getting really serious, and I'm like, is this the stupidest thing I've ever done? And she's like, probably, but Dylan, you won't shut up about it, so please just do it and get over with it, and we'll move on, we can enjoy our vacation. Because I was just like basically talking nonstop about CryptoPunks for like a week. And she, for what it's worth, she was talking about zero knowledge stuff for like a week.
Fair.
She was going, oh, is there some way that you could like play Battleship on the blockchain without like both people knowing, you know, where their things are? And
Those were interesting times.
so
I mean,
we had
so
some fun conversations for sure.
And tell us how that story ends about 7804.
So 7804, as CryptoPunks started to gain steam, I ended up selling it. I miss it a lot. Somebody anonymous on the internet bought it for 4,200 ETH. So it was quite a increase
Which
over
at the time
for
was
that.
$7.5 million. That's,
Yeah, I think it was the second highest sale at the time.
That's
Or it's the
absolutely
highest
incredible.
sale for a
Highest
moment,
sale.
and then people beat it really fast.
Well, that was about a year and a half ago. How do you think about NFTs now? Are you still excited about them? Are you still kind of thinking of them as just kind of collectibles? So what gets you interested in that category?
Yeah, so I think NFTs are a mixed bag. I think that on one side there is real art that's happening in the NFT space, and I'm super excited about on-chain art. Super excited about anything that's like the smart contract is part of the art piece. I've never really been a believer of you have some file somewhere on the internet and the URL isn't a token and that's like an NFT. It just feels like not that innovative to me. I love seeing artists get paid. So if people are artists and they're getting money from that, all the power to them. It's just not what I am that interested in myself. I think over the last year, as more people have gotten excited about the NFT space, there's been more people coming into it. That money also drew people that were scamming people, that were not respecting copyright. And I don't mean like in a CC0 way, I mean like in like a I ripping you off way. And those are some really disturbing things to see, to be honest. And so I also started to see that like if you're somebody who had success in NFTs before, there were a certain class of people who are watching your every move in your wallet and would basically do some really shady stuff to hike up the prices of collections. And so I started to be afraid of like trading for a bit. And you know, I think that NFTs do have some characteristic, as is crypto, of the more people that enter a system, the higher the price of a collection can go. And the more people that leave, the lower it might go. It's a little more nuanced than that, but that is the basic characteristic of a collectible. Art is a collectible as well, and you know, so I think overall I am excited about NFTs. I think that they're the future of media in a lot of ways, probably, and I think there's so much more to explore for NFTs. But I also am glad that the volume is going down a bit, so we can get back to building, and we can also make sure that we understand how to guard against some of these behaviors that are less constructive.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. And I guess maybe one thing I wanted to see how you think about this is that over the last couple of months, we've definitely seen a lot of generative art kind of come in. DALL-E, GPT-3, GitHub's Codepilot, Midjourney. A lot more experiments that are just kind of making it easier for us to kind of think about art that would just either not be possible or just is way beyond what we think is human capable. Do you think that sort of changes how we think about that entering in Web3 or just overall in this space? How do you think that affects this ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, the idea of like an art DAO that's actually autonomous is really cool. If you had a sort of AI system that's emitting art, and that art is then being sold, and there's sort of something that's self-perpetuating truly without any human in the loop, I think that's a really cool idea. I think that some of the general models are probably not that relevant to crypto right now, unless you're using it to create more work.
Or maybe it helping in this way have artists earn more money, because this is fundamentally a way for them to also make some income from their work.
Yeah, I think that if there was a way to, for example, trace back to artists that are maybe part of the training data and somehow in a create a crypto scheme to make it so that those artists are paid, that could be really cool. I think that there's probably a lot more of the story to be written about AI, art, and crypto. But I think it is kind of amusing that up until the recent move to proof of stake, we had sort of these like 3 warring camps. We had crypto, we had people that liked AI, and people that liked gaming, and they're all like, we want GPUs. So I feel like it was kind of an adversarial relationship for a while, but maybe starting to cool a little bit.
I think that's definitely happened with proof of stake in the last 2 months, and I also think it perfectly coincides with all the generative art kind of becoming popular, because you just have thousands of GPUs now. All right, enough about some of the Web3 themes that we're excited about. Let's kind of switch gears on thinking about making good products. I'll keep this vague, but kind of from your perspective, what makes a good product? Or maybe a good consumer product?
Well, I think a good product is one that solves a problem. Something that is designed with empathy, is straightforward. And on the consumer side, I think people have even less tolerance for that. They really care if you're making a consumer product to have no friction. And so I think for something like Figma, where sometimes it takes quite a while to ramp up as a new user, we try to make it as simple as possible. I think about a staircase metaphor, where that first step should be very easy to take, and over time you can gain mastery as you progress up those stairs. And that was a metaphor that I think Rasmus originally made. But I think for consumer, it's like those steps have to be tiny at first. Otherwise, it just never takes off.
And that's specifically for consumer, you mean? Or just, is it specifically for a consumer product or any product that you
Yeah, I think you want the onboarding and the ease of use for any product to be really straightforward. But I think for consumer, especially, that's the case. And if not able to make it really easy to onboard into, then you can't reach the kindergartners and their kindergarten teachers.
Yeah, or the classic, if your mom can't use it, it's not mainstream yet. Kind of on a similar theme, I think a common criticism that Web3 gets is that it's a solution looking for a problem, or we're not really sure these are mass-scale problems. How do you think about, do you have any frameworks for evaluating product market fit, or what do you think kind of constitutes this is actually solving a problem or a need?
Yeah, I think that there's a little bit too much emphasis sometimes in crypto on price going up, right? It makes sense because that's like the metric that everyone gets, and it's really easy to keep track of. But at the end of the day, if you're not solving a problem for someone, it doesn't matter, right? And so I think that usage is undervalued in crypto, and price is probably overvalued. And so I hope to see more products that are really focusing on making something that's useful for people. And I think that we're starting to see that. I think that people are really getting the message. And I also think that this is a unique time where we have a chance to hunker down when prices are deflated a bit and really focus on the building and making sure that we're solving core problems. And I'm really excited to see what's going to come out of this period.
There are 1,700 people in this building, and we're going to see a few hundred of these things come out on Sunday. So I am sure we're going to see initial waves of what kind of happens. So that's definitely going to be exciting. Maybe kind of going back in time a little bit, I think when you started Figma, it was fundamentally changing how people think about design. Collaborative on web was not really as a common kind of practice, and you kind of had to figure this out over a few years. How did you kind of think about those moments where you were not sure, there's uncertainty around will people want this, or you really believe this is how everything should work, but people were really not sold? How do you think about kind of battling through those moments, or kind of how do you think about just powering through this, and where do you get the will, and what's a good way of thinking about this thing as founders think about building companies?
Yeah, I think you have to form a hypothesis of where you think the world's going. You have to then validate that hypothesis as much as possible. And the hard part is when you're trying to validate that hypothesis and the validation's not coming, but you really believe it's true. And I think that's like the part that no one can teach. For us,
what was that for Figma? Yeah.
Yeah, for us, like multiplayer editing was that way. Web was that way. So we asked people, do you want a design tool on the web? And they're like, huh? Do you want to work with multiple people like in a Google Doc on designs? And everyone basically said no. There were like 1 or 2 people that we found that were interested in that. But otherwise, people thought, this makes no sense. But as we built it and we tried it ourselves, we saw that there's real value. And we also saw that it didn't work if you didn't have some way to actually have that multiplayer collaboration. And so our own experience led us to believe this is very important, and we went all in on it. And I think it ended up being, the main differentiator of Figma, and eventually people came around. But there was some faith there. And I think that if you have that faith, if you feel that strongly, and you can do that over a long period of time, then sometimes there's rewards, and sometimes you are ahead of the curve, though. And I think the hard part is knowing the timing. Sometimes you are far too early. So we were talking about DAOs earlier, the sponsors. Aragon, right?
5 years
Amazing
ago,
project,
yes.
and still going. But I think somewhat ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty of projects in crypto that are similar in terms of they were started so early, and it took a while for the rest of the ecosystem to catch up and go, wow, this is actually a problem that we need to solve right now. I'm sure you could rattle off like 12 off the top of your head.
At least, yes.
We'll remember those. Well, we don't remember the ones that came too late, right? But it ends up being that like if you're just on time, that's really important. For Figma, we were on time because WebGL was a new technology that existed. With the introduction of WebGL made it so we could actually build this in the browser, use the GPU in the browser, and make it very efficient. Whereas before, people had to use Flash, it was too slow. And you couldn't make a professional grade tool online at that time.
And I think the thing to comment here is that what you said is definitely true for the product side. And I think we kind of already see this behavior work really well in Web 2 and Web 3, which is everything in the infrastructure side follows the same pattern. Like things must be, the WebGL argument here, like it had to be there for you to actually build something that would delight the end user. And sometimes these things take time or they're just not performant yet. And we're kind of seeing that happen, especially as we kind of see how the L2 ecosystem has evolved in Web3 and now suddenly.
Stable coins.
And stable coins just kind of getting massive.
Prediction markets. You name it. There's so much that is evolving in the Ethereum ecosystem that's now these building blocks that are made possible. And you can come to a hackathon like ETHSF, and you can just go hack and build something amazing in 2 days. Whereas before it was like not possible to build some of these things at all.
Yeah, and that's a good measure of a growing developer platform because if things just become pluggable and componentized, that's when you get to a point where you just don't have to think about how something's going to work. It just works, and you build on the actual problem that you want to solve.
And I know you won't do it yourself, so I'll brag for you. So much that is due to the work of the ETH Global team. So I think we can maybe give the ETH Global team a round of applause.
Thank you. And it's support of everybody here because we pull out the event, but they do all the work. So I feel slightly uncomfortable taking the credit, but the rest of the team definitely deserves a big round of applause. A couple other things. Well, one thing we've definitely seen in the last 2 years is a lot of companies in Web 2 are getting more and more interested in Web 3, whether it's integrations, coming up with their own solutions, or their own competition. And a lot of them are starting to integrate and launch things at scale for hundreds of millions to billions of users. Do you believe that's kind of the only way to think about mass adoption, or do you believe that more companies in this space are going to become category leaders and kind of actually displace them because they're Web3 native?
I think it's a combination of both. I think we'll see Web3 companies take that main stage and make it so that they're able to, some cases, disrupt incumbents, some cases, probably more cases, create new areas that hadn't ever existed before. I think that Web 2 entrants should be welcome, though. And I think that when you have these entrants that are going to make it so that more people know about Ethereum, about crypto in general, and they'll be onboarding all sorts of new customers and users in the space and developers, I think that's a good thing. And so, I think it's sometimes tough because oftentimes, in order to make the user experience really good, there's some element of centralization that happens. And obviously, decentralized computing is just a part of the value set of Web3 and of this ecosystem.
And the correlation between centralization and distribution is also very strongly tied.
Exactly. And so, also user experience, though. And I think, though, that even when that tension exists, I think it's worth calling out, but ultimately it's important to welcome those players.
I kind of want to, this is extremely helpful. And yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Like if we see big tech companies integrate anywhere from Web3 primitives to just direct protocols in their application flow, I think that's a win for our space because it gets more people excited, it gets more people in improving those platforms. And fundamentally, we win at the end of the day, all of us.
I also just think it's amazing. Like 5 years ago, could you even imagine having this conversation? Like that would be just wild.
to just name them directly, Facebook launched 1 billion plus users getting access to NFTs on Instagram, and that's still insane. It's an actual announcement. You can buy these things on Instagram, and I would have never assumed this would be a reality, and you can't think
We
about
didn't even
that.
have the term NFT 5 years ago.
We definitely did not. So just the momentum is absolutely insane, and these things kind of come out of events like these. I want to end off by asking something a little bit more serious, which I think you're in the perfect position to give advice on. We've kind of seen, just elephant in the room, the economy is not doing that great. We're seeing interest rates hiked up. There's an energy crisis. People they're anywhere from mass layoffs to people are just worried about what the next couple of years would look like. If you're entering in this market as a founder or as a developer, how would you think about structuring the next couple of years, especially when you're starting a company? Are there any advice you can give on how do you think about building successful companies? What should people be mindful of?
Yeah, the main advice I'd give anyone who's starting a company right now is, I would say, make sure you have enough time to do it right, and to actually go all the way and really test your vision. For Figma, we were super lucky and privileged to have the support of the Teal Fellowship, and that was basically 2 years of capital, so $100,000 over 2 years. Amazing. I think that what ended up happening was that, 6 months in, if we had said, okay, 6 months is our checkpoint, and if we're doing well, we'll keep going. If not, I'll go back to school. I would have gone back to school. Kind of like head between my legs.
It's a good fallback?
No, not bad, but Figma wouldn't be here because 6 months in, we were still figuring it out. And it wasn't, even a year in, we were still figuring it out. We didn't start charging,
it took more
making
than
money until 5 years in, right? Could we done it earlier? Sure, but like maybe 4 years, not 5 years. This stuff just takes time. And I think that especially when you have the dynamic in Web3 and in crypto of having to build a community as well, the good news is that you're surrounded by this amazing community, and they're so receptive and so willing to help. The hard news is that you have competition too. In terms of mindshare, and it doesn't happen overnight. It requires so much effort, so much energy in order to build that ecosystem, those networks, those communities. And so my main advice would be to persevere, but also to plan ahead financially and to make sure you've got some time.
I think that's a perfect note to end this on. I want to thank you for taking the time tonight, and I really appreciate you being here. Please give Dylan a big round of applause.
Good luck, everybody.
All right, now the stuff that I know all of you are also exactly excited to wait for, which is all the prizes we're going to cover. So as soon as the slides go up, I'm going to talk about all the prizes, and you can all get hacking. All right, $300,000 in prizes are going to be given out. So let's kick this off with IPFS and Filecoin. The best use of NFT.storage and Web3.storage are going to be receiving $3,000 in Filecoin tokens. There's going to be 3 winners. So those are the prizes you can win, and then 25 other teams are going to be winning $440 each in Filecoin tokens, totaling $20,000 from the IPFS Filecoin team. Next up is Optimism. $20,000 also being given away by Optimism. So they have multiple categories that you can win prizes in. So there's 3 winners for $2,500 each for building something in the developer infrastructure and tooling category. One $2,500 prize for using Bedrock and OP Stack. Optimism-related games and NFT-related infrastructure, there's going to be 2 winners winning $2,500, and the best community or GovTech project, the 2 of them are going to be winning $2,500 each as well. And there's going to be a top 10 category of, 10 projects that are going to be receiving $250 for deploying their submissions on the Optimism mainnet or testnet. Next up is Polygon. $20,000 from Polygon as well. The best use of Polygon ID will be receiving $4,000. The best public good or refi project will be receiving $4,000. The best metaverse or gaming project will be receiving $4,000 as well. And the best dev tool or DAO tooling related hack will be receiving $4,000. And best Polygon deployed UX prize will go to a team winning $4,000. Then we have SKALE. So overall, the best project that uses the SKALE chain will be receiving $5,000 in SKALE tokens. The best project in the metaverse gaming or NFT category will be receiving $8,000. And the best partner integration with SKALE will be receiving $2,000. Then there's also a pool prize of $5,000, which means that anybody who deploys on SKALE and uses SKALE in a meaningful way will be splitting $5,000 equally. Then we have Worldcoin. So the best overall project using Worldcoin's SDK will be receiving $4,000, and $3,000 will go to the best governance, social, and creative app. There's going to be 4 honorable mentions for other Worldcoin integrations for $1,000 each, and they also have a pool prize of $3,000, which means any project that is going to be using Worldcoin will be splitting $3,000 equally. Next up, we have Cartesi. So Cartesi has $10,000 in prizes for the first, second, third place. And the best use of Cartesi, you can use their SDKs, and the top 3 teams are going to win $5,000, $3,000, and $2,000 respectively. Then we have ENS. So ENS also is giving $10,000 in total prizes. So the best use of ENS will have a first, second, and third place winner for $3,000, $2,000, and $1,000 each, and an integration bounty of $4,000 for the best integration with any other protocol in this space. Then we have Lens Protocol. So there's going to be 2 winners winning $3,500 each for the best Lens-related hack, and 30 teams going to be receiving $100 each for using Lens in their project in any way. Then we have Uniswap Foundation. So they have 2 categories for winning prizes, one for being an LP and one for the data. So the top LP-related tooling will receive $3,500, and the runner-up will get $1,500, so that's $5,000. And the best use of the Uniswap data platform will be receiving $3,500, and the runner-up will be receiving $1,500. Then we have UMA. So UMA is going to be giving $7,000 for the best use of UMA, which is the first place $5,000 and second place $2,000, and a pool prize of $3,000, which means anybody using UMA protocol will be splitting $3,000 equally. Next up, we have XMTP. So the grand prize will go to 2 teams winning $2,500 each for the most useful integration of XMTP protocol. There's going to be also 2 runner-ups for $1,500 each, and an honorable mention for $1,000, and another $1,000 pool prize, which means anybody who uses XMTP will be splitting that amount equally. Then we have the graph. So the best new subgraph will have 2 winners. The first place will go to $2,200, and the second place winner will receive $800. So you get to create new subgraphs and qualify for that. And if you want to use existing subgraphs in your projects, you can win $2,000 too. So the best existing use will get $1,500, and the second place will get $500. Then we have Hyperlane. So Hyperlane is giving a lot of prizes. So for the best messaging app using Hyperlane, will be receiving $4,000. The best DeFi hack on Hyperlane will be receiving $2,000. The best NFT will also be receiving $2,000, and the best infrastructure-related hack on Hyperlane will be also receiving $2,000. Then we have EY. So the best use of Starlight Protocol will be receiving $1,500, and a runner-up, second place, will be getting $1,000. Then we have Mina Protocol. So the best use of Mina Protocol will have 3 winners. The first place is going to get $4,000, the second place is going to get $3,000, and the third place will be receiving $2,000. And there's also a pool prize category, which means anybody using Mina will be splitting that amount equally. Next up, we have Push Protocol. So there's going to be 3 winners for the best use of Push Protocol. This is something you can use to send push notifications. The first place goes to $3,500, second place will be receiving $25,000, and third place will be getting $1,500. And 5 runner-ups for integrating Push Protocol will get $500 each. Then we have Live Peer. So there's going to be first, second, third place winners for the Live Peer API. So you can use the Live Peer Studio live stream or the Video on Demand API and qualify for $10,000 in prizes. Next up, we have Aluo. So the best overall project will get $2,000. The most futuristic use case will get $2,000, and a $6,000 pool prize category, which means anybody using this SDK will be splitting $6,000 each. Next up, we have 0x. And 0x has first, second, and third place prizes. So the best use of 0x, first place will get $5,000, the second place will get $3,000, and third place will get $2,000. Then we have ApeCoin. So the best integration of ApeCoin in your hack will get $2,000 for the first place, $1,000 for the second place, and $500 for the third. And the best contribution to the ApeCoin code and the SDK will get $3,500 for the first place, $2,000 for second, and $1,000 for third place. Next up, we have Near Protocol. So the best use of Near Protocol for your hack will get $5,000 for the first place, $3,000 for second, and 2,000 for third place. Then we have Fuel, and Fuel also has for second and third prizes where you're going to get 5,000, 3,000, and 2,000 respectively for integrating Fuel in your SDK or Fuel SDK in your projects. Then we have Tenderly, and we have first, second, third for Tenderly for enabling more Web3 analytics and debugging for your smart contracts. So the best use will get 2,500, second place will get 15, and third place will get 1,000. Next up is Teller. So Teller has a $5,000 pool prize, which means anybody building on Teller will be splitting $5,000 equally delivered in TRB tokens. Next up is Dune Analytics. So the best use of Dune Analytics data API will get $2,000, and this will be given to 5 different teams, totaling $10,000. Next up, we have Unlock. So the best use of Unlock protocol will be getting $3,000 for the first place, $1,500 for second, and $500 for third place. And then we have QuickNote, Gnosis Chain, Empiric, Evmos, Findora, Midpoint, Triangle, and Covalent, all giving $5,000 in prizes. And you can find all these details, including what actually qualifies and the documentation and a link to their workshop, all on sf.ethglobal.com/prizes. Everything, including the specifics on how you qualify for these prizes, is going to be on this page, and this will also be available on your Hacker dashboard. And with that, I want to remind everybody to make sure you pace yourself. We really don't want this thing to be exhausting for you. We really want this thing to be fun. We're here all weekend. Don't stress too much. We want to be here to help you in any way. And more importantly, this whole weekend is about experimentation and learning. So even if you don't get to finish what you wanted to do, it is completely okay, and you can still present what you were able to finish instead of the whole thing, and that is totally allowed. So with that, let's get hacking, and thanks everybody for joining.
Vamos!